We have our PVT finals, and let's start here on Def Aura, bottom right hand corner, where the red Terran player is spawning, playing for Brave Star Gaming. It is Dream.
And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, he's the blue Protoss player. Looking really strong in PvZ, but he's playing a PvT. Can he look strong here too as well? It is ZEST.
And he definitely got his revenge after GSL. There was a clean sweep and an absolutely devastating victory against Armani. Super convincing, just looking like the better player. That should be a huge boon to his self-esteem after winning that series in such a convincing fashion.
Yeah, I also heard of a rumor, I'm not sure if it's true or not, that ZEST was actually pretty mad after that GSL loss. So I feel like that kind of fueled him, and he kind of cleaned up his game, and it's a PvZ. And so maybe that kind of had something to do with it or not, I'm not sure. But it's definitely working either way.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's been like truly beautiful to see this player improve in the last 2 weeks so much, stepping up his game so much mostly, and seeing so many games out of him, so many convincing series, so many convincing victories, dropping only one series in the last 3 events we've hosted here together, and like absolutely rocking this new build order. But this time, that's a whole new beast. That's PVT. Let's see if ZEST manages to do his best even against a Terran opponent.
Yeah, actually, despite him playing really well these past couple of weeks, he's still behind stats and I believe Trap as well in the EPT rankings. I would love to see him kind of compete a little bit more in these tournaments and then kind of get ahead. They're pretty close in points, so I mean, if ZEST can put on a good winning streak, get a good run in, maybe even win one of the tournaments, he can definitely get ahead.
I think they're 5th, 6th, and 7th in the EPT rankings, right?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
So they're all very close together. We're talking probably the 3 best Protoss players in the world, probably alongside Neeb and Showtime. So we're talking like incredibly good players with very different styles, and it's exciting to see their playstyle unravel throughout the year, develop into new stuff, even in different matchups. Here we see quite a common Blink opener from ZEST, while Dream is setting up some aggression with the Reaper and the Hellion, getting his way into the main to maybe get some scouting information. He's gonna see a bunch of Stalkers, gonna see a Dollar Council researching. He's not gonna be too scared about anything. He's gonna get a probe as well. So, seeing the robot in the wall-off as well. Dream has a absolutely total vision about what is happening.
Yeah, but either way, I think it was a pretty good defense there by ZEST. Only losing one probe. I've seen in the past where it can get a bit ugly, even with one Reaper and one Hellion. Sometimes they usually see Terran send 2 Hellions instead, and that kind of get a bit more devastating. But pretty good, decent hold there by ZEST. Doesn't lose too much.
Here comes the Widowmine drop. This is want to be a little bit more committed than anything else. The Medivac actually survives to these Stalkers being very well positioned. Doesn't really look like Dream is about to get too much. Widowmine shot goes on top of the Stalkers, which will effortlessly dodge that with a well-timed blink. And ZEST not gonna lose anything once more and gonna get a Widowmine for his trouble.
Already 100% better than how Zan handled the Widowmine drops.
Yeah. Even 200, let's be honest.
Let's go 201%.
Yeah, alright. That game, that wheel on my shoulder. I kind of want to forget about it, but I just can't. That's this image in my eye of this pro trying to get away from them, and every single one of them getting slaughtered.
Yeah, it's like every Protoss's nightmare.
Yeah, and I'm not even a Protoss. I'm a Zerg, so like, gosh.
Oh, here we go. One more Widowmine drop here into the main. Seems like, oh, just barely reaction time. Nice.
That's only one Widowmine. ZEST was able to clear the other, so this Medivac is not gonna do too much damage. And we'll hide here in the top left hand corner. ZEST is gonna try to hit that bunker down, but he will be stopped in his tracks by this tank being sieged just in range of this stalker. War Prison in the main. Just got a couple of Stalkers and a Depth Select here in the main, not gonna get anything. They will head out of there. Charge is in the making. Dream, not really able to get his third yet. He has the command center, is not really transferring to the third yet. And ZEST getting a good amount of map control, even with a kind of a lower amount of Stalkers than most Protoss players like to go for.
What's interesting is that ZEST went for a really early Templar Archive. It's going to allow him to warp in the Archon here. Might actually do a little bit of an Archon drop of some sort while he kind of puts some pressure on the front.
It is looking like it is adding a lot of units here outside of the third of Dream, actually outproducing his opponent. And that's quite a feat in this matchup, to be honest. Like, Dream doesn't really have too much of an army. His army is not really that strong. His key upgrades are done. He has Steam, he has Combat Shield. He doesn't have Concussive Shields though. These Archons getting here. Charge is done. It's gonna be a huge fight from these players. Here it comes the run from ZEST, getting on top of the tank. All the turrets are doing such a good job at keeping these Stalkers at bay. One of the Archons is gonna fall, and ZEST gets nothing for his troubles. 7 SCVs, yeah, whatever, says Dream. I'm just gonna drop a couple mules and outproduce you once more. Here comes another huge round of units from ZEST. He still has a bunch of Stalkers, he still has one Archon and a bunch of Zealots. And this Raven is out of energy. This tank in the high ground is gonna do so much though. ZEST drops the Guardian Shield and is trying to hit at the command center and the economy most than anything else. Huge force fields being dropped by the Protoss player. But in the end, Dream is gonna hold once more. That's been a little bit better from ZEST this time. But in the end, Dream forces ZEST to move out. Stalkers getting forward to try and stop the command center from landing. Gonna get a few hits on top of that bio army before blinking out.
Yeah, there's actually no vision here on the high ground for ZEST to see that tank. So that tank actually got some nice fire shots at the Protoss army. And Dream will hold and actually looking pretty solid with a 1-1 upgrade with an overall supply lead with a 20 army supply lead as well. I mean, things are looking pretty good for Dream. Now ZEST is getting his 4th base, so he is going to go ahead and transition. It wasn't like a complete all-in. It wasn't like a 10 gate or something. So he should be able to at least prolong the game and hopefully, you know, maybe get good engagement to kind of even up the supply.
Yeah, having that amount of tech already at his disposal means that ZEST will kind of have a quicker transition. Like Shockwave is just being started as a EMP upgrade, so ZEST is still gonna be having quite a healthy army once he hits on top of Dream. But the army of Dream is not really quite too shabby either, and the economy of Dream is actually quite insane. This base over here is gonna be cancelled, and here comes ZEST heading into the natural. There's not ghosts here yet. Here comes a huge interference matrix on top of the Warp Prism. That Warp Prism was full of storms, and ZEST has to back off, getting nothing for his trouble, and that's not great. Widowmines, meanwhile, in the natural and third of ZEST are getting huge shots. That's a good one. 10 probes are gonna fall down. in the three outward bases of ZEST. And the economy of Dream has not been stopping whatsoever. Shockwave, EMP, almost done. And you know what? I've been really liking the position of Dream as of now, even though there's a bunch of storms in that Warp Prism. The army of ZEST is clashing here with this kind of multi-pronged attempt of Dream, but the army on the top right-hand corner is really cutting forward. It looks like ZEST is trying to clump up his units to deal with what is coming. But after losing 13 probes, he has to be a little bit more careful about his units.
Alright, we might have a little bit of a doom drop scenario coming here as 4 medevacs worth of infantry units are on standby, as he's going to go probably dive on in once he sees that the army of ZEST is out in the middle of the map, kind of making him kind of basically dropping when the Protest army is out of position. But look at the defense that ZEST has set up. He's got like a bunch of High Templars, bunch of Zealots to prepare for this doom drop.
And Regal is available as well, so he's not too scared about that as well. A huge Shockwave EMP will go on the main army. Actually, 2 huge Shockwave EMPs will go on top of the main army of ZEST, stopping it in its tracks. Meanwhile, Dream is gonna hit over here. As you said, there's a lot of defense. Those storms can be used to stop Dream from getting too much damage. That's so much feedback, so much energy being used by those spellcasters, but the interference matrix will stop this Warp Prism from dropping the High Templars full of energy themselves. Doesn't really look like ZEST has been finding a way to break forward again. Meanwhile, in the top right hand corner, it looks like this medevac drop from Dream will be cleared by a bunch of Zealots and Stalkers alike. Meanwhile, ZEST, huge storms in the third base of Dream. Gonna get so much damage on top of this by army. Shockwave EMP goes on top of everything of ZEST once more. And both players losing so much. High Templars are falling. There's no more High Templars ready to storm down the army of Dream. Archons though are still there. They can still deal damage. They can still tank damage if the needs arise. And ZEST is hitting on the other side as well, kind of trying to sandwich his opponent in one way. Shockwave EMP goes on top of every single part of the army of ZEST, and this tank is dealing so much damage. It looks like Dream is really struggling to keep up right now though, losing so many SCVs as well. ZEST cannot break him, and the Dream supply is rising in count. Stalkers trapped in between 2 bio armies. And ZEST still trying to deal damage over here. More Zealots being worked in. He's going for the base trade, but that's not something you want to go for. Dream will head back with his army. This tank is finally getting cleared by ZEST. And the rest of the army of Dream is a little bit too far away to deal with this. Zealots are dying one after the other, but here comes the Stalkers into the main, getting on top of the production, getting on top of everything. Warp Prism, warping even more units out. And a huge storm is ready inside of that Warp Prism. Warp Prism is about to go down though. It's so low in health. Here comes the storm I was talking about. 18 SCVs have been going down. EMP will go down on the army of ZEST. It looks like it's going to be cleared. Recall gets used, but ZEST gets a lot of damage.
Oh my god, that Warp Prism's so close! He gets away with it.
Alright, ZEST, you have to spend your minerals though.
This is a pro player with almost 3k banked minerals? What is this?
And yes, 10 gateways. It's not like he doesn't have the production.
You know, I wouldn't even be mad if he just threw down like 2 more Nexuses.
Yeah, or even like 8 gateways. At this stage, you can do that. Like, there's
or
nothing stopping you.
maybe even a bunch of cannons and shoe batteries or something. It's got wasted.
Having 2K minerals is not going to do anything for you, especially after dealing so much economical damage. You have to spend your resources.
Yeah, that was such a great trade there for ZEST in that minute or so. But he's got to be careful because, Warp Prism does finally get sniped down, but he's got to be careful because there is a doom drop. Oh, actually, you know, there's a observer there, so he does spots it. So nice vision there by ZEST.
He's finally finding a way to spend those minerals. I'm not sure I really like the way he handled these upgrades. He's finally getting +3/+3. That's a little bit later than I would have liked him to get that. But yeah, Dream is again outproducing him. He's not really having a better economy, which is something that is gonna work out in favor of ZEST in the long run. But I would like to see ZEST drop down those Robo Bay and a second robotics facility to start getting more AoE damage, because these armies are about to get huge. And big armies means that AoE is gonna be very much better, with feedback and EMP being a thing. These I-Templars and Ghosts are kind of canceling themselves. But yeah, look at these I-Templars heading forward, trying to storm down feedback on top of the Medivac as well. But it's not like ZEST is getting too much out of the Templars if Dream strikes first with EMP. That's why I would like him to go for the Disruptors. Yeah, you can see ZEST trying to storm everything down, but these Archons, these I-Templars will merge into an Archon in a very suboptimal spot, to say the least. And Dream is about to hit with two different Medivac drops. Here comes the first one at the 4th, just behind the mineral line, while the main army is trying to buy time. The mineral line is a little bit exposed. Meanwhile, another drop goes to the base next to the main over here. A huge round of Zealots gonna be warped in. EMP will go down on top of the Soldiers. Widow Mines will help against these Zealots. In the end, it looks like Dream will clear this army, but on the other side, ZEST is trying to hit on the main army. Three different attacks from Dream. All are gonna be a convincing victory, it seems. Over here, finally looks like ZEST is getting his first victory in his huge trade. But in the end, he will try to go for the economy of his opponent, losing 20 probes behind, back home, losing a Nexus, losing even more probably in the count of key units. But so is Dream, losing so many SCVs. ZEST doesn't really have the army to keep up, I feel like, though. He's right now fighting Marines with probes. That's not what you want to have. And Dream is still hitting in natural. It looks like the main army of Dream will retire back home to deal with the Stalkers and Zealots alike. But it's kind of too late for ZEST. He's losing another Nexus. Many more probes to come. Stalkers cannot do too much. It's going to be GG, and Dream gets another victory. First one in this best of 7.
Ooh, what a back and forth game there, right? It's like they just kept dropping on one another. They just kept trading blow for blow. Dream just so good at just multi-prong attack, and just yeah, he's just catching people like ZEST off guard. Also Zand, as we saw in the first series. Just Gateway News just doesn't cut it, I don't think, against the kind of the playstyle of Dream.
Yeah, Dream was just so proactive, just hitting in so many different spots at a single time, handling probably the main bulk of the army of ZEST with just 1/3 of his own army. It was just kind of beautiful from Dream all over the place. Getting to this later stage of the game just means Dream can out-micro you in so many different ways, and that's considered ZEST is one of the best micro players in the world. Like, that was quite a feat from Dream. I really enjoyed this play, this game.
Yeah, I gotta wonder though if ZEST was able to kind of spend his resources. I mean, you know, take it with a grain of salt, because ZEST was microing the heck out of during that engagement where he was basically warping into the main base of Dream and trying to micro, you know, his stalkers and, you know, getting the force field out. I mean, that takes a lot of APM, and I could understand why his macro kind of slipped there. But if he was able to spend all that resources, I think it would have given ZEST such a much better chance against Dream there.
After dealing so much damage, he kind of stepped off, kind of didn't commit further into dealing even more damage, which is like game-wise, it's probably the best decision, like overall, to just not trade everything down. But in the end, I feel like in that particular scenario, probably it would have benefited ZEST more than it would have benefited Dream, just due to the sheer amount of production that Dream had. ZEST could just probably double it down, deal more damage, even take a few not good trades, but pin down the amount of units that Dream was able to produce, and then just overwhelm him with his better economy at that stage.
Yeah. Although it's kind of hard to say because at the time, Dream did have 3-3 versus 2-2 of ZEST, and when you go for going for a mainly gateway unit heavy army, you're the one that wants to be ahead and upgrade. You're the one who wants to get the 3-3 before the Terran gets 3-3, and it was the reverse, the reverse sequence. And then also on top of that, like you said and mentioned, ZEST, he didn't have any splash damage units besides the High Templars. You definitely want to add in, additional splash damage, whether it's Archons, whether it's Colossus, whether it's Disruptors, something to give you that additional splash damage against what the Terran had.
But here we have another game, another new story to tell between these two players. We're on Submarine in the top left hand corner, where the red Terran is spawning, leading a series 1-0. Playing for Brave Star Gaming, it is Dream.
And you're spawning at the bottom right. You have the blue Protoss from Raise Your Edge Gaming. Looking to tie up the series. It is ZEST. So here we go, back at Submarine once again.
Yeah, this map can have a lot of interesting games just due to how short it is and how good it is to be aggressive. On the side of ZEST, probably we're just gonna see some pretty standard Blink Stalker play, I feel. I don't really feel like he's going to go for anything too crazy. But I would like Dream to go for something a little bit more aggressive than he did in the first game.
I also would like to see ZEST kind of start walling off the the bottom side, where the bottom gas is, because there is the cliff area where Reapers can jump in and out, and blocking that area will definitely help. Because there's always that scenario where the Reaper dive into the main base through the cliff area, and then maybe Hellions come into the front. You want to make sure that you at least have some way of cornering the Reaper so that you can at least snipe at it with the Stalker or the Adept.
Yeah. Or maybe even just deny scouting from your opponent, which can be very important if you decide to go for some a little bit more aggressive play yourself, or something that maybe your opponent is not expecting. Doesn't really look like ZEST is about to do that. As I was saying, it's probably just gonna be Stalkers. While Dream is not really playing his end in any weird way either. Not seeing any free racks play. So, you know what? Game is just steadily heading to the mid game, it looks, without both players really doing too much. Probably it's gonna be a Widowman drop. Not really anything too crazy. This Reaper is gonna get one probe, by the way, and will actually survive after that, which is... Oh! Never mind.
Cast a curse. Cast a curse.
I have no idea how did that Stalker get that shot on the Reaper. That was not supposed to happen, but it happened. Yeah, that's not great for Dream. Dream loses every single inch of map control he had up to this point. His alien will go far. No, he won't.
Now, even though Dream hasn't scouted the Protoss, really, I think he kind of inferred that it's going to be Blinkstock play, because ZEST did not open up with an Adept. He opened up with a Stalker. So usually when the Protoss goes open up with a Stalker, usually means Blink Stalker play. And we oh, go ahead.
This is a 4-gate Stalker play. He's just been making gateways and nothing else. Now he's gonna be starting make a lot of Stalkers here in this proxy pattern location and try to deal some serious damage. That's kind of committed. That's taking a page out of the book of parting, and maybe try to deal some serious damage over here with just Blink Stalkers. Blink is almost done. A bunch of Stalkers are in production here at this proxy pylon, and it doesn't really look like the alien is gonna get any scouting whatsoever. The Medivac with the Windmine will try to drop into the main, but the count of Stalkers is kind of rising. There's no Cyclone. That's kind of important. There's a Raven in the making, but then again, Blink Stalkers can easily work around that Raven. This SCV is finally going to see these Stalkers, or maybe not. Oh, Widowmine? Yeah, not really gonna do too much. There's quick reflexes coming from ZEST. He's now hitting with the Stalkers. Will he dodge his other Widowmine shot? I think he won't. 8 probes gone into the scene. But ZEST is hitting at the natural of his opponent. His orbital command is in real danger right now. A bunch of SCVs are dying one after the other. ZEST is focusing it down, but there's so many SCVs to repair it, and so many are dying though to make use of that. And the tank is right now sieged just next to the natural. But more Stalkers are coming, diving on top of the tank. The tank will go down basically instantly. The bunker is not gonna survive either. That's a one auto turret being used by Dream. The Raven is out of energy right now though, and this orbital command needs to lift back up there. So many SCVs are dying. A blink forward on top of the Marines as well, and many more SCVs are dying. It looks like ZEST has found his way into the natural and has cleared everything that was there behind it. So ZEST trying to go into the main right now. If there is one tank, he will just blink on top of it. There is not much to deal with these Stalkers. It looks like Dream will just GG out of this very soon. Stalkers over here destroying the army of Dream. GG gets gold, and ZEST will tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah, that really reminded me of Parting playing on ladder. I guess the main person, the main player that really does that build is Parting, and ZEST, just playing like almost like a doppelganger of him.
Yeah, it was truly an identical build to what Parting likes to do, and it really worked out in his favor. It is submarine, it is a short map. He killed the Reaper, which prompted him to do this a little bit easier than it was supposed to be. But in the end, he just kind of overwhelmed his opponent. Even losing 8 probes back home, like, who cares? Like, he had so many Stalkers at that stage. The series is tied. We're heading into game number 3. Pillars of Gold is going to be a map.
Yep. But Pillars of Gold, definitely not a map where I would expect ZEST to go bring out the same build. Doesn't work quite as well as Submarine because, first of all, the natural does have a uphill ramp area, so it's a bit harder that way. And I mean, you can blink kind of in the main base, but you would expect that Dream will have that covered. So I don't expect the same build. He's probably gonna change it up, maybe go back to a regular blink stalker build where it's not 4-gate, not as committed, or he might go open up with a Stargate, go Phoenix or something, or Orcos, proxy Orcos or something.
Yeah, both are definitely some very good ways to play the matchup, and I'm also very curious about how Dream will approach this game. He's been looking so proficient and multi-pronged drops in the late game scenarios, so he will probably try to get to that stage. But talking about the Devil, let's introduce our first player over here in the bottom left hand corner. He's the Red Terran. He's playing for Brave Star Gaming. It is Dream.
And spawning here at the top right corner of the map is the blue Protoss player from Raise Your Edge Gaming, hailing from Korea. It is ZEST.
Really feels like this series can go either way from this point onwards. Dream, such a convincing game in game number 1, even after being behind for a quite large portion of that game. He still managed to get back into it, got a lot of damage done, while ZEST in this game number 2 just absolutely devastating his opponent with a 4 gateway blink Stalker's play. From Pillars of Gold right now, things are bound to be a little bit different, and Dream is gonna start it off with an NGB block.
Oh man, and one of that Trader Pros blocking the other pro from zapping away at the SCV.
Oh, that's 4 probes over here. ZEST really wants to drop down that Nexus as soon as possible. And this NGB is surely not taking a lot of damage from these probes. The SCV is trying to get close to that to maybe get even a little bit more ahead in the bar. But it looks like ZEST will clean it and will drop down his Nexus soon after his Hammerhead score. So not that huge of a delay in the end, even with an NGB block.
Yeah, kind of taking a playbook out of Beyond, because Beyond would go, one of the few Terran players that would go send their SCV out pretty early to drop that and block the Nexus of the Protoss. So kind of a copycat there.
Yeah, like early probe production is kind of important for the Protoss player. They kind of need to be ahead in economy-wise for the first few stages of the game before the Terran can drop down those orbital commands. So kind of helps a lot. And also this starport being proxied over here in the right side of the map, it also helps a lot. Especially when you produce a Medivac out of it and you fill it with Hellions.
Now, we do see that ZEST has the majority of his main base covered, so he should at least be able to see the Hellions dropping in. And plus, he is going for Stargate here, so at the very least, I think he should be able to at least lift up one of the Hellions. He might want to throw down a shield battery, but I don't think he has a... Yeah, he doesn't have a pylon there at the main base, so it might get a little bit ugly.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like he's expecting this. He's playing very unsafely, I'd say, with an Oracle as well. Of course, Oracle are gonna kill aliens very fast. But there's gonna be probably 2 different sides in which Dream will hit. No, actually no. Just here with the Hellion drop. The Oracle is on time, yes, but damage can still be dealt in very high numbers. I don't feel like Dream will care about that Adept. He will just try to kill as many probes as possible. Here comes the drop. Already aliens starting to deal damage. Already probes starting to fall one after the other. And that's already 4 kills. One of these aliens will fall. But more probes are falling one after the other. 7, 8. That's a lot of damage. Loading up back into the Medivac and heading into the natural. It looks like ZEST is not on time with that. Shade is on cooldown. Phoenix will be used to lift up some of these aliens, as you were saying, but the other 2 will escape. And 13 kills. This Oracle can surely not keep up with the amount of damage that Dream has dealt, I feel like. But in the end, ZEST still has a lot of workers. Even after losing 16, still has so many of them. Like, the orbital command has just been started by Dream over here, and I have to be honest, like, Dream losing these 6 workers almost looks as damaging as ZEST losing 17. Look at the supply.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, to be honest with you. But remember, Dream did delay his second base for quite a while in order to, execute that build, to pull out that build. So he was behind in terms of the worker count to begin with. And I think that kind of explains why, even though ZEST losing 17 probes is still ahead in the worker count.
Here comes the Adept train. Not gonna go into the main, but still, this natural is gonna lose a fresh mule and 3 SCVs. So, well, actually, ZEST is trying to fight the main army. One of the Cyclone gets lifted, the other Phoenix is trying to hack it down. Shades will go into the main, will try to deal damage to his army, will try to fight it head-on. The Viking is not gonna win that battle against the Phoenixes. This Cyclone is the only thing left standing between ZEST and victory. Dream, what are you doing this game, my man? It looks like ZEST is just being everywhere. Here, SCV is trying to desperately repair that Cyclone, and Phoenix will fall down. It looks like he's 1 tank out, but Dream is losing SCV after SCV. All of his army has been cleared, and I really struggle to find a way in which Dream can put any amount of aggression in this game from this point onwards.
Yeah, I mean, man, that went more horrible than it should have been, because Dream left his supply depot down, letting the Adept shade in. I mean, as a Terran, you don't want to have an open door policy when you're facing against Adepts. So that kind of really, really hurt Dream. And he was already hurting in terms of the economy. So let's pull up the income graph here. As you can see, it's all ZEST here. A huge blue spike for ZEST. And now ZEST going to be able to take that dirt freely without any worries.
Even a Dark Shrine follow-up coming from the Protoss player. He's really smelling blood in the air. He really wants to close the deal as soon as possible. There's one Liberator incoming from Dream. A bunch of units are gonna be loaded into this one Medivac, trying to get for some damage. And I feel like Dream desperately needs some damage. His army is a little bit ahead in supply, but Charge is almost done. There's Phoenixes out on the map, as well as one Oracle. I don't know about this. Dream can deal damage. Oh, these Cyclones are gonna be lifted. Oh, that's another dead Cyclone I hear. Not good for... Oh, the Cyclone leaves, actually. So does the Phoenix. But it's even more time. More time for ZEST to produce even more stuff. Maybe drop down those Dark Templars. He probably needs. 2 of them are in the making. I don't know if there will be Archons or not. But there are more Phoenix in production. And look at this. 2 SCVs dying. I don't even know where they died.
Oh man, Dark Templar is going to go ahead and start hacking away in the main base. There's not any scans left. Only actually one scan. Does he save it for the army engagement, or does he save it back at home?
Oh, the army engagement is not going any better either. ZEST is gonna get an absolutely devastating victory. Like, it was so overwhelming for him on every single stage. He lost 17 probes and he was 5 workers ahead. Like, what?
Oh man.
And his Nexus, his first Nexus was delayed. Like, crazy game by ZEST. Dream was just struggling to do anything, to be honest.
Yeah, it just seemed like ZEST's macro was just on point that game, while Dreams was slipping. And yeah, just a really... I gotta commend ZEST, especially in that follow-up, the DT follow-up, because he knew that Dream was suffering in the economy. He knew he was going to spend energy on the mules instead, and that meant less energy for those scans, which means the Dark Templars was pretty much the finishing blow.
Yeah, there was nothing to defend against it back home either, so even using that scan would have done absolutely nothing. SCVs would have been needed to fight the Dark Templar, would have meant that 5 more SCVs were about to die. And back home, like, the fight was devastating. Both tanks being sieged, the other Phoenix attacking at the Medivac, and the main army just getting absolutely stomped by the Zealots. So that was a heartbreaking game for Dream, for sure. After leading the series after the first game, he's gonna be finding himself lagging 1 point behind, ZEST leading 2-1, heading into map number 4.
Which will be on Oxide, LE.
Here we are. Top right hand corner is where the Red Terran is spawning. He needs this victory to set up his morale. He needs to tie up the series. Playing for Brave Star Gaming, it is Dream.
And spawning here at the bottom left corner of the map is the blue Protoss player representing Team Raise Your Edge Gaming. It is ZEST.
Feel like Dream has to try something else entirely here on Oxide to be on par with ZEST. This probe is kind of hiding from the Reaper before trying to get some scouting. And let's remember Oxide, even if it doesn't look like it, is a very short map. Like, getting from point A to point B in this map is just... doesn't really take a lot of time. Dream is gonna go for an NG Bay block again, this time, of course, due to the map being shorter. It's gonna be a little bit more effective. But ZEST dropping down the cybernetics core before Nexus. feels like something that should happen more often than not in the mashup, of course. But not even bothering with dropping down the Nexus or taking control of the natural is already setting up quite the mood, I'd say.
Alright, looks like Zest is going to respond by making his first Zealot. Now, after he kind of cancels the engineering bay, he can possibly go across the map with his Zealot, put on some pressure. I hope that Dream doesn't have a bunker up by then. But this Reaper is making his way across and should be able to at least force the Zealot back at home.
Yeah, the Reaper will just go past this probe from ZEST, dropping down that pylon without actually witnessing the pylon being made. There's a Stalker back home for ZEST, so it doesn't really look like Dream will be doing anything with the Reaper.
Oh my god! Acontistes, we're bringing it back into the Wings of Liberty's days with the 4-gate attack, 1 base. Oh my goodness. How long have we seen? I mean, I have not seen this in like quite some time. Oh wait, this is 3-gate. Never mind, 3-gate. I thought it was going to be 4-gate. Okay, never mind. But still, there's going to be a lot of gateway units heading across the map.
And he's making a sentry. All right, that is wild from Zest. Like every single Terran in the world right now is always making a bunker just outside the natural. Oxide as a ramp next to the natural. You gotta have pretty much an overwhelming amount of units to break through. Like you probably have to have at least double the supply of your opponent, maybe more, to actually break through. And Dream is also getting map control with the Reaper and the Hellion. So back home, you have to have at least 1 unit to deal with that. There's the Sentry, or Ride. The Sentry is not gonna win that fight. Reaper goes into the main. He's not gonna see any tech structures. And meanwhile, Stalkers in the natural of Dream. Stalkers will just go past the bunker, not even caring. These Marines are not gonna bring a lot of a fight to these Stalkers. Stalkers are just ignoring every single static defense Dream can put down. He could have 5 bunkers over there. Zest will have just went past them. And he's now attacking at these supply depot. Right now he's finally dealing with this bunker, with the SCVs and everything inside of it. It looks like Zest will burn this bunker down. Medivac will save only 1 of these Marines, and now the Stalkers are getting into the main. This supply depot is gonna fall down even with the SCVs repairing it, and it's time for the Stalkers to start attacking the Marines, the Medivac, and all of the SCVs that have been pulled into this fight. Dream needs time. There's 1 Liberator and 1 tank in the making, but Zest is dealing so much damage. So many SCVs falling one after the other. Finally the tank is out, and Zest will be content to stopping his orbital command from getting any mining.
Oh, I think he could have gotten on top of that tank, like gone right in through. There was not a lot in that bunker, only like a few Marines, like 1 or 2 Marines, so a missed opportunity there. But still, he does delay the mining of a Dream as he's kind of reprobing back at home.
Yeah, he's gonna be dropping down his stack as well. Twilight Council and Robotics Facility being dropped at the same time. He's building himself up for the follow-up. Meanwhile, Dream, 2 Widow Mines. He has the Medivac alive somewhere, right? Or did it die? Oh, it died. So he has to remake the Medivac to start that Widow Mine drop. He needs to deal some damage himself, otherwise this game will absolutely snowball in favor of Zest.
You can see in the units lost and the resources lost, 2.2k resources lost for the Terran compared to the 950 of the Protoss. So definitely. What?
Alright. Dream is not gonna bother.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think
I don't think he did.
his drop got scattered by the hallucination, so I think he was like, never mind. It's not gonna catch Zest by surprise.
Yeah, it just.
He was
another kind of an heartbreaking defeat for Dream, to be honest.
Yeah, that is kind of pretty depressing way to lose. Remember, all 3 games that Zest has won has all been early game harassment,
Yeah.
getting a really good lead. Whether it's the first game with the Blink Stalkers timing, the 4 gate, or the first win with the Blink Stalker, the 4 gate Blink Stalker, or is the second win with the Orko, getting the 6 SCVs kills in the early game, or it could be this game with the early gateway attack, 3 gate attack. All of them has been just early pressure by ZEST.
And one of those maps was Pillars of Gold, so it was a big map, so it doesn't really come down to map choices. Right now we're going on Romanticide, which is another huge map, but it doesn't really mean that ZEST cannot go for something aggressive. Dream has showed us today that he can be very good the longer the game goes, at especially at just trying to disrupt your opponent by multi-pronged attacks. But ZEST doesn't really look like he wants to allow Dream to get to that stage of the game. He really wants to stop him before that.
Yeah. Now we're heading into game number 5 here, which will be on Romanticide. Now, ZEST, he is 1 game away from clinching the series, from being victorious. We'll see if Dream has something to say about that, and hopefully prolong it to the 7th game where anything can happen.
Yeah, it will kind of need a miracle, to be honest. Like, ZEST has been just looking a little bit too overwhelming in the early game, but it is something Dream can do. It is something that Dream can pull off. He needs to shake off any bad feeling. He needs to recollect his thoughts and try to bring out his best StarCraft. He needs to play a little bit more defensively in the earlier stage. I think it's kind of well known to him at this stage that ZEST wants to stop him before getting to the later stages. It feels like ZEST feels a little bit more confident in these earlier game timing games than he does at late game scenarios, while Dream is in the total opposite position. So we will see how this game will go.
Yeah, looks like Dream is good to go. ZEST is good to go as well. I'm not sure why he's not starting.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of break.
Yeah, he must be tending to something. But we should get this started pretty soon. But anyhow, just a reminder, there is a Matcherino page for this event right below in the video player. There's an info section that has all the information, the bracket link, as well as the Matcherino link, where you can go ahead on over there, enter the coupon code AX194, where you could contribute 50 cents for free to the overall prize pool. If you want to be generous and contribute more, you can also do sponsor quests on the right side of the Matcherino page. That should contribute additional funds. And then on top of that, you could get the replays for only $5. All the replays from today's event will be at your disposal for just a low price of $5. Alright, let's head into Romanticide LE to determine if this is potentially the last match of today.
It could really be if this guy doesn't step up his game. We're talking about the red Terran players spawning in the top left hand side, playing for Brave Star Gaming, and it's 3 in a row. It is Dream.
And here, spawning at the bottom right, he's the blue Protoss player in a very comfortable position, feeling pretty good. He is from Raise Your Edge Gaming. It is ZEST. So immediately this time around, no early SCV block. Hasn't worked.
It's very big, so it makes sense.
Ah, yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I think it's slightly longer than Pillars of Gold as well. Like the rush distance is even longer than that. But this is kind of a deceptive map. It is kind of thrown at you like this is a macro map. Play macro here. But the longer the game goes, the more difficult it becomes to just kind of handle things. choke points in the bridges, in the mineral walls, so many rocks, so many mineral walls to mine out, so many open areas here at the one of the possible fourth base scenarios. Well, position, sorry, not scenarios. So most players are kind of not really liking to bring games or Romanticide too far forward because it can lead to some very unexpected outcomes. It looks like ZEST is one of them here with this proxy pylon proxying this target here in the bottom left hand corner. That position is kind of close to the natural of Dream as well. And Dream is gonna get his scouting over here with the Reaper, and he's gonna see there's no second pylon. That's good scouting. Like, he knows there's something proxied right now. I mean, he's supposed to know. He didn't see the second pylon. He needs to scout for something.
Yeah, he is searching all over the map, and will he see it though? It looks like he's going towards the top side. Oh, yeah, his Q is not going to scout this.
No. No.
This could potentially get pretty ugly.
I mean, not scouting that position means he was expecting robo play maybe, but that's not supposed to happen. Or maybe he's expecting another stalker play, so he's scouting closer positions. But instead, like, that's kind of an unusual corner Stargate play. That's gonna be very scary for Dream because I see no Cyclone yet. Cyclone is gonna be produced in a short while. Here it comes, but the first Oracle is already out. And the natural is very exposed. Oh, Oracle gonna go straight into the main. That's even more exposed. There's nothing to defend against this. He's gonna go into the SCVs trying to pull up the buildings. Marines are gonna go down as well. The Cyclone is halfway through. More SCVs are falling, and ZEST already getting quite a good trade.
Yeah, I would imagine he's gonna transition into Blink Stalkers. Would be pretty good. He has the Oracle already, so it provides him high ground vision where he can kind of blink his Stalkers in. And I think that's a pretty good. This is a pretty good map to use Blink Stalkers, as the surface area of the main base is quite large.
He's also gonna be dropping that third Nexus down, so it's not gonna be an all-in like we've seen in game number 2 and game number 3. Finally, Dream catches a glimpse of that Stargate while the Oracle tries to make his way to maybe stop this Reaper from getting any more scouting information. Here it goes. Goodbye, Reaper. But Dream got what he needed. He knows what's up, he knows where it's at, and he knows there's already a good amount of Stalkers in ZEST army. Let's see how Dream decides to transition right now, because I feel like he desperately needs some kind of a comeback maneuver, because his economy is really struggling to keep up.
Well, the good thing for Dream is that he did go for the early third, so that should at least provide him some nice income boost. That's more energy for meals, and that's more SCV production, so that's kind of his way, I think, of trying to coming back from the slight economic deficit as he suffered from the Oracle.
Oh, so this is gonna blink into the main. That's a lot of Stalkers. They're gonna go straight into the Raven. Goodbye, Raven. His auto turret is still dealing so much damage. He doesn't want to fight next to that. He's still waiting for that auto turret to expire. There's a bunch of Marines ready to bring the fight to these Stalkers, but there's no Medivac to help them with it. Cyclone is dealing a lot of damage, so will the tank once it's sieged. So ZEST will just back out of there. Here comes the Revelation, and the SCVs are already rallied around the bunker to stop the Stalkers from potentially getting into the natural. Doesn't really look like ZEST is pulling his N2 forward. He's kind of taking the pot damage he can get without really placing himself into too much danger. Another Revelation will be dropped. ZEST has a pretty clear idea about what's going on, and he will just drop down a fourth. He doesn't feel scared at all. 7 more gateways, his key upgrades ongoing, +1 ground weapons, charge, and a robot. Everything is going in his favor right now, but Dream has been able to wither the storm, get his key upgrades himself, and start producing a whole lot of units.
Yeah, you know when someone is really confident, or Protoss is really confident when he's dropping a fourth base at the 6-minute mark. I mean, there's really not much that Dream can do, right? He only has like one tank. He's not gonna be pushing out anytime soon.
Like, things that the most weird is that he didn't produce a single medivac. Like right now, he's finally making 2, but those are the first 2 medivacs he's ever produced, and that really locks you out from getting any amount of map control. It really locks you out from getting any rust damage. ZEST is gonna get even a tier 3 structures, being the Dark Shrine, even though like it's a kind of an easy building to rush. I mean, it's still a tier 3 unit structure. He's gonna get his most important key units, and he's just gonna warp in a bunch of Zealot. Oh, he wants to attack actually with +1 ground weapons. That's a good timing. Charge lots are getting on top of everything. Tanks are melting into these charge lots. These Marine Bio Army is trying his best to micro against the Zealots. Another charge. But these Zealots are just dying. I don't really see a reason for ZEST to go this aggressive. He's gonna go get both the tanks. But that's all. Like, he has so many gateways right now. He just wants to swarm his opponent, he feels like. And you know what? He's kind of like producing Dream right now. These Zealots are gonna be so hard to break, even with the amount of Marines that Dream has. Those are very low in health, and Marines are right now stopping these Zealots from killing too many SCVs. 7 SCVs are falling. Stalkers need to back off for now, but there's another huge round of Zealots.
ZEST playing that swarm toss, as some people call it. But look at that. Dream smartly actually walls off. And that's gonna prevent the charge lot from getting on top of the infantry. And yeah, I think ZEST will have to back out by then. But remember, he took that early 4th base. He could just go ahead and re-macro up, get a 5th base, and start getting those upgrades.
12 SCVs have died to this. The Oracle got a huge bunch of kills. Meanwhile, the fight was going on. Cyclone just barely didn't kill it. Oracle survived with 7 health. But in the end, ZEST still on the proactive side of the map. Still no tanks available for Dream, just a bunch of Winomines, and ZEST still able to get some more SCVs before blinking out. 3 more kills, 2 more Nexi. That's some swarm toss.
And it may potentially get even more uglier because that DT blink upgrade is about to be done. We're gonna see a lot of DTs roaming around trying to snipe off command centers, and there's not turrets in the dirt base or the natural or the main base.
So many Zealots, so many Dark Templars being produced as well. The economy of ZEST is just mind-numbing right now. That's so many Nexi ready to be mined down, and look at these Dark Templars catching a bunch of units trying to move out to kill the Stargate. At last, it won't happen, Dream. That Stargate will still be up there, and Dream starting off Shockwave EMP for those ghosts, it will help a lot against the Zealot army and against the Dark Templars. But I still feel like ZEST has such a huge economy that this is really still working in his favor. He can really outproduce his opponent very quickly, even it being a Terran, which is quite a feat, to be honest. This Medivac is getting himself into a little bit of trouble, will fall down, not before these Winomines are starting to get some kills on top of the probes of ZEST. But here comes a huge army led by the Terran, and ZEST is kind of out of position.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have eyes on this. Now he can sack a Nexus or two, but he's got to, collect his whole army right now because Dream has pulled the boys. He is pretty much all in here.
Oh, and you don't want to fight into a choke point on top of that, but the concave is huge from ZEST. Here comes the Guardian Shield to help with that as well. Shockwave EMP is not going to hit on too many units. Meanwhile, the Dark Templars are kind of trying to get behind. Here comes a huge scan, which is going to help a lot. Meanwhile, both players losing so much back home. The Oracle has been getting even more SCVs in the meanwhile. The army of ZEST will almost be cleared. Only a bunch of Zealot and Stalkers left standing, but Dream cannot produce anything more out of their defender's advantage. kicking in at its best, and more flame forwards will prevent Dream from retreating at full force. Meanwhile, 18 SCVs have died back home, and ZEST still are producing, still are macroing, and still having a better economy than his opponent.
Yeah, he pretty much have his half of his side of his map. So Zest, all he needs to do is just continue macroing, taking more bases. Probably should add in a second forge because his upgrades kind of lagging behind of Dream. Dream is at 2-2 compared to the +2 of Zest.
Yeah, one more forge will surely go a long way into helping Zest get this victory. But you know what? It's not over yet. Dream still has a very, very powerful army, even if the count is not that high. These units of Zest will not hit as hard as his. And these Stalkers, though, still getting so much damage, and Dream kind of struggling to get something around the army of Zest. Finally, 4 more prods are gonna die to 1 Widowman here at the bottom side of the map. Stalkers trying to keep these Medivac from doing anything, while the other amount of Stalkers are trying to burn down the wall that Dream is trying to build up. Dark Templars and Zealots alike trying to hit over here at this planetary fortress. But there's gonna be 1 missile turret getting vision of these invisible units before they can deal too much damage. Widowmine drop, gonna go into the main, but there's 1 cannon over there. Oh, this is cool. But it looks like Zest is on top of it. No more damage.
Alright, so pretty much standstill by both players here as they're trying to macro back up. I'm a little bit afraid though for Zest because he's still stuck on gateway units. At some point you have to, kind of go into higher tier units, like which it looks like he's adding some immortals, but you need some splash damage units, right?
I think you do, yeah. You can go on with Zealots forever. Like, Dream has showed us that he can just outmaneuver you if you're not too careful with your own army. These Stalkers are not getting a good trade. They will blink out due to that. And Zest finally getting +2 armor. But yeah, you were saying that before. I don't know why I didn't get a second forge. It's full on minerals. Are really struggling behind in upgrades. Upgrades are very important if you want to play this kind of style, while Dream decides to go into another big attack. Zest trying to clash him on 2 different sides, trying to attack on different sides, but the army of Dream is just way too maneuverable. He will go past everything, will get the kill on this Nexus, and Easy is a very, very dangerous spot to be in, though. Dream will find himself trapped. Here comes the Zealots on this left side of the army of Dream. It looks like Dream will have to load everything up. 11 prods will die, but Dream will have to stop his harassment. Here in the top right corner, though, more probes are falling and the Nexus goes down. Here, this is the best Dream I was talking about. The multi-pronged Dream. The guy who stops your economy before you even realize. 40 supply advantage all of a sudden, and that's the first time in the game Dream has a supply advantage. Dark Templars will blink on top of this army, but they will not do too much. Gonna get the Cyclone, but not much else. Meanwhile, the drop goes into the main for Dream, while Zest is trying to trade down everything he has on the other side of the map. You were talking about this as well. That's not a higher tier unit army. This will not go in favor of Zest. Dream will just be quicker with his base trade, even though the production of Zest is trying to stop Dream from getting too much damage. There's still a whole Doom drop into the main of the Protoss player. Zest needs to be very clever about this because I don't see him winning anytime soon. He has half the army supply of his opponent and he's losing so much stuff back home. He's right now heading to a planetary. This will not be easy to kill, and this could very well be the nail in the coffin for Zest. To be honest, the planetary will fall down due to good use of force field, but Dream is destroying everything else in the Zest side of the map. I don't really see any way Zest can come back into this game. He has 1 mining base with 8 mineral patches, actually 4 mineral patches, Finally, the army of ZEST tries to clash with the one of Dream, but this is not even a fight that the Protoss player will win. GG gets gold, and Dream takes his second game of the series.
Dream keeps his dreams alive. Pun intended, guys. Staves off of elimination. So potentially, if he can go ahead and win this next game, might be able to pull out some magic. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? This game was very convincing for him. Like, he played a very good game defensively, managed to get to the later stage, he felt confident in it. We see him play very good in those late game stages, and he just did that. He defended kind of proficiently against most of the stuff ZEST was playing against him, and then he just had a huge triple prong attack that destroyed ZEST in the making, basically.
Yeah, you know, it really reminded me of the earlier game where Dream played against Zound, where you just dropping all over the place, attacking all over the place. And I think that's, like you said, that's the best version of Dream, where he's just on the attack, so aggressive, and just out microing his opponent.
Yeah, his offensive maneuvers, just hiding medivacs throughout the map and being ready to drop at any moment's notice, have been his strengths in both today's series he played in, and he's been looking good this game. Like, ZEST still at match point, but let's not count Dream out. He needs to win 2 in a row. It's a hard task, but it's still something that he has showed right here, right now, that he's completely capable of doing.
Yeah, for sure. And looks like we're headed into game number 6, and it's going to be on Lightshade LE. It's going to be one of these nice, interesting maps once again.
Short map again. Let's see. Here we go. Game number 6 has just started. We're on Lightshade in the bottom right hand corner, where the red Terran player is spawning. He now needs 2 in a row to bring this series back home. Playing for Brave Star Gaming, it is Dream.
And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, he's the blue Protoss from Raise Your Edge Gaming, looking to clear out the series and win 4-2. Can he do it? It is ZEST. I'm curious, guys, if you guys are rooting for ZEST or Dream here. I mean, ZEST is 1 game away from winning, but if you guys prefer like a 7th game, are you rooting for Dream? Or maybe you're just rooting for Dream as he's one of your favorite players?
I will answer myself to that. Like, I would love to see a game number 7. So I'm rooting for Dream this game to see a game number 7. But after that, I have to say I will root for ZEST. That's one of my absolutely favorite players. So it's just amazing to see him play at his best. He's just one of those players who's just absolutely unstoppable when he's feeling it. Yep. And into this series though, like the last game, let's be honest, the 3 games he won were very early timing attacks, like where he shines the most, like where he is allowed to play aggressively. But in every single other scenario, like, Dream has been looking so much better. So it's a huge clash of styles, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, even in the last game, I feel like ZEST though, he was kind of ahead, right? A little bit.
Yeah, and then he just kind of messed up.
Yeah, I think when Protoss player plays that kind of play style with the swarm toss, they really gotta end it like right when they get the upgrade advantage. Now, throughout that game, Zest wasn't able to get the upgrade advantage, and it's the matter of quantity over quality at a certain point. Once
Yeah,
the Terran gets like Widow Mines and Ghosts and all that, then their quality just supersedes the quantity of Zest.
I absolutely agree with you. That's also a problem that happened in the first game of this series, and even in that game, Zest was so much slower than his opponent in getting those upgrades. Dream consistently being ahead on units upgrades by 2 or even 3 upgrades, which is kind of crazy considering how um, the series have been going. But once again, I suppose Zest wants to stop Dream in his tracks. He wants to stop him from getting to those later stages of the game. Dropping the Dark Shrine and the Robo is going to be some kind of Arcane drop or Dark Templars to start putting this game number 6 straight right up into his favor.
Looks like Catharsis in the chat rooting for Zest as well. Yeah, he's one of the fan favorites out there. He tends to be, rooted on by a lot of fans, so no surprise there. War Prism gonna be making his way across the map here. What does Dream has? Okay, he's making his engineering bay. Doesn't have he only has 1 scan, so gonna have to make sure to save some of those energy. Oh no, he just drew down 1 meal.
Oh no. That's no scans. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. These Dark Templars are right now focusing down the Marines so that they can just start attacking these few SCVs without really anything Dream can do about it. There's a Widowmine drop. He's gonna get just 2 probes though, and meanwhile, still no scan. In the main, it has 47 energy right now. You can finally drop down a scan. Looks like Dream will desperately drop down the missile turret and defend it with everything he has. Here comes the scan that will kill one of these Dark Templars. Meanwhile, in the main though, there's 1 Dark Templar still going. 16 SCVs have been falling down, and that's, call it an anticlimactic ending to a wonderful series. Zest is today's champion, but this game was a build order victory and nothing more.